Thank you for coming to my channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so I can share more and more content with you. I just wanted to give a quick video for some people who don't know what the signs of autism are. I'm just going to rattle off a couple of them. There's several, but I think these are the common ones that are kind of textbook as to what autism looks like. So I know for my son, he obviously regressed in his speech. So for some kids, they start out with speech. They start out talking, one words, two words, and it usually doubles. And then after a couple of months, then, let's say they have like 100 words when they hit certain milestones. Well, my son, the words that he started getting, they slowly went away to the point that he regressed to no speech. So that's a sign. Toe walking is a sign, especially when these kids are on their tippy toes and that's how they walk around all the time. My son, he was a toe walker. And it, excuse me. And for the most part, me and my family, we didn't recognize that was a sign. We just thought, oh, he liked to walk on his toes. Like, what's the big deal? But now we know. No eye contact, that's another major one. No eye contact, not responding to their name, hand flapping, and just really odd gestures. Some kids, they do different things with their hands or their fingers or their arms. They say arm or hand flapping, but just anything, just if they're constantly even doing something like this, just all the time. That is part of it. And, we typically call those behaviors like stimmy behaviors because it's as though they're self-soothing, and it's their way of kind of calming themselves down. That's because they have just so much coming at them at once that they have a difficult time in terms of stimuli coming at them at once. They have a hard time quieting all of that and kind of, understanding and able to process it. So oftentimes they do certain things. Some kids, they're self-injurious or they're really, really aggressive, where you might see them headbanging or hitting themselves. Those are also stimmy behaviors. Those are difficult because, you don't want the child to injure themselves. So for some kids, they have to almost wear like a helmet sometimes just to protect themselves from hurting themselves. Again, another sign is, as I mentioned, sensitivity to sound. Some children cannot handle loud noises or most of any noises. It just depends on the child. They have a difficult time with touch, where they don't want to be touched. They have a difficult time with clothing, where you have to, they have to wear their clothing inside out because either the clothing tag or the seams or anything on the inside of the clothes is so abrasive to their skin that it almost feels as though, their skin is being scraped. That's how sensitive they are. So, and then the idea of hugging them is just a no-no because they just can't handle it. Another one is a high pain tolerance or no pain. And that was one that my son had. He had a very, very high tolerance to pain, where he could bump into things or things would hit him and he wouldn't even feel it. I'll never forget, there was a time when something fell on his head, and it really, it was a significant accident, and he ended up having a big knot in the middle of his forehead. But when it hit him, he had no reaction. It's as if nothing happened. But meanwhile, he's got a giant knot in the middle of his forehead. Like, how do you not respond to that? But once again, he had very, very high tolerance for pain. So that's worrisome because obviously your child could get hurt and they not have their bodies are not equipped to respond to that appropriately. And just other type of OCD behaviors that some of these kids have, where they're very inflexible with their behaviors as well. So those are just a couple of things, to look out for. And with all those behaviors, it's about the consistency of it. It's about the repetition of it. Because if somebody has a behavior and it's like, oh, they did that for like a month and then it went away and we never saw it again, that's something different. But if they're doing this and it gets progressively worse or it doesn't go away, that would be, for me, a clue that, okay, something else is going on here. We need to go get some help, go see somebody, because that kid could be on the spectrum. So hope that was helpful. Have a good day. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.